Greetings, fellow gamers. This is Coqui-san here, your residential freelance gamer. I'm here with finally a reflections video of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and the Sora reveal. I didn't get a chance to do it the day when the announcements was made due to life, but I decided that I wanted to do it tonight, the day Sora gets released. Throw in a reflection video followed by first look, which will be my final first look at a Smash Fighter reveal. That will be for the final season, the final season pass, essentially. And it was quite a remarkable journey for the past year, doing all the first looks for all the Season 2 fighters. It was pretty fun while it lasted, and it's sad to see this game go. But I don't want to take up too much time. I do want to share my thoughts on what is essentially, in my honest opinion, Masahiro Sakurai's Magnum Opus, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and my thoughts on Sora and why I think he's a good fit for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So let us begin. So basically, Smash Bros. To start off really came a long way. I mean, we're talking about the N64 here, when Nintendo just started dipping their feet on the three-dimensional plane and started showing possibilities. And you know, when we were all introduced to Smash Brothers, it was just a joke fighting game, so to speak, like a party fighting game. I wouldn't say joke, but more like a party fighting game. And it was just quite fascinating and interesting how this game started from that origin to becoming a hardcore fighting game, so to speak. I don't know if hardcore is the right phrase, but it definitely with the help of Bandai Namco, dealing with fighting game mechanisms and lingo and terminology and so on, Smash Bros. Grew into its own right. And what's amazing about this is the fact that, well, this is a very unique game. I would say the only equivalent of this game would be the near equivalent of what has been accomplished with Smash Bros. Ultimate is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the film, was the culmination of all these animation studios from the Golden Age. We're talking about Max Fleischer Studios, MGM Studios, King Syndicate, Warner Brothers, and of course Disney. And bringing all those characters together was an amazing thing to see for all the parents that grew up on those cartoons and sharing those cartoons with their kids, me especially, when that film came out. So it was pretty awesome to see that. But what Sakurai was able to do in getting Sora it's the same situation that Steven Spielberg and Robert Zemeckis had with Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and that is getting Disney on board doing things. So this is not something new. I know for many of you might not have been born when Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out. This is nothing new that Nintendo went through with Disney, going through with Disney in terms of getting Sora here, because Steven Spielberg, one of the biggest top directors of all time, you know, one of the big dogs, him and his crew, you know, had to really work with Disney, because Disney is stubbornness. they equate to stubbornness. So let's put this in perspective here. For Disney, in order to put Mickey Mouse in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and Warner Brothers, you know, having Bugs Bunny and Who Framed Roger Rabbit, they both came into this big compromise where Bugs and Mickey had to share the same screen for the precise same amount of time with the same number of sentences and I believe the same number of words, in order for the two of them to coexist, so that way they could be on the same screen and everything. It was a great treat, but this was Disney we're talking about here, and that type of conceited arrogance, that's my personal criticism when it comes to things like that. You know, that's not good business. And sure enough, as Sakurai said, it took them 7 years. I mean, that was what, six years ago that he did the Choose Your Fighter a survey where everybody gets to put down who they want in Smash Brothers, and Sora was the one who was at the top. He said it very clearly, they were the ones at the top, and they spent 6 years trying to get get Sora in here, and that's very typical of Disney. If you understand the history with between Disney and Who Framed Roger Rabbit, if you know the history of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, then you would understand why Sakurai had a hard time getting Sora here onto Smash, and the fact that they were able to do that he was able to pull that off is quite remarkable. And I also noticed another thing that I actually didn't even take into consideration. I saw in the comment sections on YouTube. I believe it was in the Sora trailer. I forgot which reveal it was. I wasn't sure which video it was, but it was in the comments section. This one person pointed out how remarkable it was that Nintendo got Square Enix on board because of the fallout they had back in the 90s when Nintendo went straight to the when Nintendo released the Nintendo 64, and Square Enix jumped ship and went straight to Sony and took all the exclusives with them. And from what I understood from that commenter, that they had very, very bad blood, and it wasn't until that group of people between Square and Nintendo went to retirement that they were able to, that the new replacements of the retirees was able to broker deals and bring in. I don't know if that's like true or anything. I'm just going off of this commenter. I don't know how accurate that is, but I do know that there was a big bad fallout. I know it was a very bad fallout because Nintendo stayed cartridge, and it wasn't just Square Enix alone. Capcom, Konami, yeah, basically everybody who's on Smash Brothers basically all walked down on Nintendo the moment Nintendo went cartridge on the N64, and that led to basically where Nintendo is right now. Strangely enough, it's a very, very bad history, but that's how it is. But nevertheless, basically, being able to get these companies that Nintendo have a strange bedfellows relationship with, where one day they'll be angry at each other, and then the next day they give exclusive games, like here's an exclusive Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube, or here's an exclusive Ghost Trick, or here's an exclusive Crystal Chronicles, say exclusive Octopath Traveler, and so on. So this is a strange relationship these guys have, and seeing them, setting aside whatever differences they have and doing what they did here with Smash Bros. I mean, look at Cloud here. We got Cloud up in here and everything. Got Cloud and got Sephiroth, Sonic, arch rivals with Sega, strange competition with Microsoft, bringing in the Western companies. But that only happened because of Rare. Nintendo couldn't ignore its history with Rare. But even so, this was pretty unprecedented that they really, let Sakurai truly express his creative freedom and flourish the way he did. And that's something that really, you're not going to see that again. I don't think any game designer or game developer would ever have that level of clout and power the way Sakurai did to pull off what he pulled off. And I think, in my opinion, we, the fans, should not take this for granted whatsoever. We should really appreciate what was done here and Smash Bros. Ultimate, and really enjoy the game for all its quirks. We may not have gotten our Wario's or Shovel Knights, or for me personally, I would have liked to have had Isaac from Golden Sun. But at the end of the day, this is a celebration. This is a big celebration of video games, but most importantly, this is more of a context of sorts, historical context, as we segue now into why Sora is a good fit, into historical context, and that is that this is from Nintendo's point of view. Smash Brothers is Nintendo's point of view of video game history, more or less their part in video game history. Think of like Forrest Gump. You know how Forrest Gump, spoke about his life, and he come across all those major historical events and historical figures, like came across Kennedy, Watergate, but it's from his point of view. That's what Smash Brothers is. This is video game history from Nintendo's point of view. And what's amazing about this is that Disney, being the last ones to jump in, it is a good fit bringing in Sora. It is a good fit. And you gotta understand Nintendo's history and historical context which they are conveying. And we gotta go all the way back, a whole couple of generations. And I don't mean video game generations, I'm talking about human generations, to when Nintendo was doing this. All these playing cards, when they were the playing card company. And as you can see, you know, they had, if I recall, if my research is right, 1959, Yamauchi and his crew went to California, visited Disney, and was able to secure the licensing rights to slap their Disney characters onto Nintendo's playing cards. And it was from there that their sales skyrocketed, and it resulted in them being able to qualify to sign up for the stock market, the Nikkei in Japan, and basically made Nintendo a big player, now into the big player. And that's pretty remarkable, because it's a tabletop game, but it's still a game, and their history with games together, Nintendo and Disney, has gone very far back, and that's pretty amazing. And that's why it really does make sense. Now, what about the video game front? Well, on the video game front, that's because Nintendo, from what I've done in my research, I could be wrong, but 1980 was, if I read everything correctly, Disney's first foray into video games was Nintendo's own Game & Watch. They started off with Mickey Mouse. That was the first game in 1980, and then the next year they followed it up with Mickey and Donald, which was the second Disney game. I don't know if they made any more Disney games from like maybe the later ones. I could recall, maybe not, I could be wrong. But nevertheless, Nintendo and Disney with video games, they go way back, very, very far back. So this is not some walk around the park here. This is not new to the neighborhood stuff, should I say. They've been down this path before together. And so this is Disney's, role in video games just as much as Nintendo and Capcom, Konami, Sega. Let me put it like this. Disney has churned out a lot of games, but one of the most notable ones was with Capcom. When Disney gave the licensing rights to DuckTales and Rescue Rangers. For many of you out in other countries, you may not know this, but here in the United States, we had Disney shows on the afternoon block called the Disney Afternoon. They would have shows, and Disney would pop up shows like DuckTales, Rescue Rangers, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, and so on. And they teamed up with Capcom and made action platforming video games based on those shows, and they were very popular and high selling. DuckTales being like tops, right? It was a big favorite of everybody's. So Capcom and Disney got a relationship there between each other. Not only that, but another thing with Nintendo and Disney was that Disney's Epic Mickey was Disney's first ever, if I recall correctly, if I remember right, when I saw when I was at the convention, New York Comic Con, I believe, when Disney introduced Disney Epic Mickey, I believe that the producers said very clearly it was their first full usage of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, as well as giving him a voice. And that game was exclusive only to Nintendo. The sequels went multi-platform, but I haven't seen the first game get put into any other platform other than the Wii. So this whole relationship, regardless of what it is, it's there. The business side of it, at least the business relationship, is all there, and it's pretty amazing and it's pretty amazing when you look at it, just how much Disney contributed in some way, shape, or form to the video game industry. I mean, they did Disney Infinity, with the near field communication, Toys to Life thing, competing with Skylanders before they decided to shut down. They've done tons and tons of video games. They contributed Tron. If you love Tron and Discs of Tron, you had that. That kind of stuff. And then, of course, teaming up with Square Enix to do Kingdom Hearts, which, sadly say, I've only played one, Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2, and Chain of Memories. I just couldn't, once I saw the direction they were going, I was like, I don't want to pick up 10 games just so I could understand Kingdom Hearts 3. I know a lot of you are going to say, no. But, yeah, they kind of got carried away on that. I don't blame them. It's a good cash cow. It's a very good cash cow. You just got to be able to understand what's going on around the game. But nevertheless, Nintendo's history with Disney and Sora is just way too long and way too deep to just casually dismiss Sora's presence into Smash Brothers. So basically, this is it. I hate to say it, and I've seen other YouTube videos, and I think there's a consensus that this is it. We may never see this again, and I really do stress we should not take this for granted, because getting every single, well, I wouldn't say every single, but just getting some of the top tier characters, iconic characters, into one video game like this, who got some kind of way, shape, or form a business relationship with Nintendo, we'll never see this again. For example, Atlas, Shin Megami Tensei started on Nintendo. It started off on Nintendo on the Famicom system, Family Computer, and then the Super Famicom. And then there's Sega. Nintendo's rivalry was Sega. And then who was the first company Sega went to and gave Sonic to? It was Nintendo. They hooked them up with the Sonic Advance trilogy as the only exclusive Nintendo games. They've never multi-platformed it to other companies. And then they bought out Atlas on top of that, and they hooked up Nintendo with Shin Megami Tensei series, while Sony got the Persona series. And then of course Konami. Konami was exclusively MSX, but then they made the jump over to Nintendo, and they didn't, Nintendo, and then there was Hudson Soft, which Konami purchased, and Nintendo and Hudson Soft was tight knit. They did Mario Party and Bomberman. They did collabs with those games together, and then now they're owned by Konami. And we still get Bomberman games to this day on Nintendo platforms almost automatically. So it's just too much. And then you got Square and Enix, both companies that gave us Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. Like, how can how can that be ignored? But still, it's just amazing. The relationships. And then people are wondering, well, how did Microsoft get that? Well, because of Rare. Face it, Rare is the reason why Microsoft was able to jump in on Smash, because Nintendo cannot ignore Rare's contribution in reviving Donkey Kong, because he was dead. After the arcades, nobody's heard from Donkey Kong. And the last time we actually got to see Donkey Kong in some way, shape, or form was Donkey Kong Jr. and Mario Kart. And then all of a sudden, they just gave gave Donkey Kong to Rare, and Rare gave us Donkey Kong Country. And that couldn't be ignored in any way, shape, or form either. And Banjo-Kazooie, even though it was mainly popular in the West, that was Nintendo's history. And Nintendo, again, couldn't ignore that. Nintendo just basically gave us Forrest Gump. Just to put it succinctly, they gave us Forrest Gump. So, the Forrest Gump of video games. Mario sitting in the park and it's like, life's like a box of chocolates. And telling us all about how he came across Disney and Rare and Microsoft. I invested into this company called Rare, and then we sold it off to Microsoft. Anyway, so this is definitely one of the most greatest built video games of all time. Definitely top tier. One of the top tier. If I was doing those tier lists, it would definitely be tier S. there was a lot of love, a lot of care, a lot of craft into this, and that is the way of the Magnum Opus. So thank you all for joining me. Please don't hesitate to select the subscribe button. You're cordially invited to join my channel and RSVP in the comments section. You could hit the old like buttons and the bell buttons once you subscribe, and join me in the chat rooms on my live streams. So thank you all for joining me, hearing me out and hearing what I got to say, and I hope that everything I have to say is insightful. Please share your comments. Tell me, do you really think this is definitely Sakurai's Magnum Opus? And do you really believe that Sora makes the fit? Inquiring minds would love to know. So, with all that said, I thank you all for joining me, and I wish you all a good night, buenas noches, and oyasumi nasai. Sakurai-san, for all the years of creating Smash Brothers for all of us to enjoy, thank you very much to you and your crew. Arigatou gozaimashita. Wish you all the best and all the luck in your future endeavors. Ganbatte.